Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Tampa Bay Real Producers Podcast. This is the podcast that is brought to you by real producers, for real producers, and with none other than Tampa Bay's real producers, as well as powered by Top Producers Nation, which you can check us out at topproducersnation.com to learn more about how to become a top producer in your desired market, wherever that may be, all throughout the country. We have courses and different programs to help you in building your business. Today, we get to hang out with Ashley Gajdosz. How are you, Ashley?
Good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
No doubt. It's glad to have you here. If Ashley looks familiar, you might see back here that we actually recently featured Ashley and her team. And I forget which month it was now that we featured you. Do you remember?
I think it was September or October.
There we go. So this fall or fall of 2024. Happy New Year, by the way, to all of you. This is the first podcast episode of 2025. So you're welcoming in the new year with us, Ashley.
Yeah.
And Ashley is with Keller Williams, Tampa Properties. And so as you can see, we had this spotlight done on her a couple of months ago, and now we get to dive in a little bit deeper here on the show. So Ashley, why don't we start a little bit with just your background for people who might not know your story yet. How did you get yourself into Tampa? Did you grow up here? And if not, what brought you here?
Yep.
And how eventually did you get interested in real estate?
Perfect. So I am born and raised in Tampa, grew up in Carrollwood. Oh, wow. Graduated from Gaither High School. Then I went to school at Florida State.
Okay.
Moved back home, then I moved to Pinellas County. So then I've been in Safety Harbor since 2013.
Gotcha.
Yep.
What did you major in school?
Everything.
Just hopefully the goal was graduation.
Yes.
The major wasn't as important, I guess.
Yep.
Huh?
Nope.
Did you know you were going to do real estate all those years, or?
Absolutely not. So I grew up in real estate. My mom started when I was 4.
Yep.
And I said, absolutely not. You are always on the phone. You are always working. I despised the career, period. And then you're young. You don't know what to do. And so then I said, all right, let me take a break. Let me try working with you for a little bit for admin. And then I fell in love with it.
Was that right after graduation?
Right after school, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So at least you knew that you had that opportunity there if need be, and it gave you some path to be able to figure things out, I guess, huh?
Yes. My mom is really big into legacy, so she was so excited whenever I started with her.
How long has your mom been in the business?
So I'm since 34 years.
Wow. God bless her. So
34
she's seen a lot of the market flows and changes over the years,
She started with the book and them looking through the listings in a book. So it was quite fascinating.
Very cool.
Whenever she was doing it.
So I know you mentioned off camera earlier that you started in the admin side first.
Yes.
And didn't sound like you were too crazy about that eventually over time.
You need to see people. You need to talk to people. The admin side is a little lonely. You're just sitting in an office. I wanted to be out and not doing the same thing every day.
For sure. Now, how long did it take before you got into the sales side and
6 months.
Met that itch? So only 6 months. All right. So you
it was quick.
You weren't patient.
Like, no.
You were ready to rock and roll from the get-go.
Yeah.
And so did things immediately take off for you? Or what was that first year like for you?
So while I had her as my mentor and my business partner, she just didn't hand me the business. Mm-hmm. So from getting licensed to my first closing was 6 months before. So I worked in a restaurant as a waitress and had a second job, worked at a golf course, Old Memorial, for a little bit there.
Yeah.
So she didn't just hand it to me, but she did give me really great guidance. So it was 6 months from license to paycheck.
Now, did your mom have a team of her own at the time?
She had a business partner, Jean Jarman, who's been in the business forever. She's an icon of Tampa. So they were business partners before I joined.
Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what was it like for you, kind of like not only having your mom there as kind of a mentor in the business, but did that relationship really make all the difference in the world for you to feel like you had that stability and get off to a good start with the business?
Yes, because it's intimidating. I started when I was 21, and people look at you like, what are you going to do for me? You're just a baby. Mm-hmm. So it was very intimidating. And so I spent a lot of the time listening to everything she said. So even in my presentations now, it's things that I heard all those years ago from her.
Totally.
And just spit them right back out.
Yeah, I can see the huge value in having that mentor. It's one of the things that we bring up a lot on the show is, like, for people, we like to focus in on the early years many times and how somebody gets things moving, you know?
Yes.
And that idea of having a mentor comes up a lot as one of the most important elements of getting that traction. And a lot of things that a lot of agents struggle with is not having that person that can actually show them the ropes and
it can
help
be a
them
very
get there.
lonely business too. And if you have nobody to bounce the ideas off of, or what would you do, or keeping the motivation, because nobody's telling you to go to work here, so you have to do it yourself. So I think it's very important to have somebody to bounce it off of.
How long did it take you till you finally were like, I really like this business, I think this is going to be a long time career for me?
Instantly.
Was it?
Loved it.
Yeah.
The thing that I like the most, besides helping people buy and sell, with their biggest transactions, is that the income is unlimited, and there's a lot of other paths off of buying and selling. We've started multiple businesses from the real estate business.
Nice. What are some of those businesses?
So we have a transaction management company. I do that with my sister-in-law. She runs everything there, but we started it together, and now I'm her sounding board and to answer questions.
It might be sparkling.
Hey, I'm sparkling, so it's all good.
And then we also started investing in real estate too.
Like flips or
We
rentals?
do flips and rentals, yep.
Very cool.
Yep, I own a couple by myself, and then my brother and I do the flips, and we have 2 houses together now.
Very nice. Okay.
Yep.
Are they like long-term rentals, short-term holds? Do you use the Airbnb model or?
We do not yet. I think that we will now that there will be an opportunity at the beach. Is something that we're looking into. But the ones that we have now are long-term rentals.
Got it.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about you. Obviously, you had your mom as a mentor there in those early times. When you think about just like what worked for you, you grew up here, you mentioned. So I'm assuming that played a role in your success, would you say, in those first couple of years, having that network maybe that you can tap into that you at least had connections with, or was that not really a role at all for you?
That I did not use as many connections as I should have growing up here. Where the business was different is that my mom really didn't have a database. So I took back all of her information, and then we started the database then and really communicating with them systematically. And that's where it really started to take off.
Is that what you think you brought to the table, was like more of that organizing the database side and helping to track that?
Yes, and keeping in communication with it. I think that is one of the most important things, is to have everything in one area. It was the Rolodex before. And so then,
that's the old school way, right?
Yes, put it all on the computer and had a system of every time you're going to say something to somebody.
That's awesome. So would you say the whole adage of fortune is in the follow-up is
always?
Does that make a lot of sense for your business model too?
Yep.
So is that where most of your business, would you say, has come, is just through these like follow-up systems and making sure that you're tracking communications? Has that been a big key?
Yep. So I want to know, where are we spending money and where is it coming to? So last year, and pretty much every year, our business comes from past clients and referrals from them, and then also agent to agent referrals.
Nice. What percentage of your business is referral based, do you know?
It's 50-50.
Okay.
It is almost 50-50.
Okay.
I think we did a random, met somebody at an open house or sign call, maybe 1 or 2, but it was about 50-50 between agent referrals and through our database referrals.
Got it. And I think you mentioned off camera you've been licensed for 16 years now.
16 years.
So
January
what
1st.
has the evolution of the business looked like in your experience? Has it just kind of grown pretty much consistently? Has it been more of a rocky roller coaster up and down at times? How would you describe it?
I would say it's always been a little bit of a roller coaster. My mom's and I's theory was kind of like YOLO. The business will come, it's not as much, it's fine. And then my brother joined us probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Your brother Grant?
Grant, yep.
Shout out to Grant out there.
Grant, yep. He went to school in North Carolina.
Okay.
Got his real estate license up there. And then I was like, hey, we could use your help. We've tried hiring people. It just doesn't work out well. And I was like, I could use your help. And so then he moved down as a buyer's agent. His mindset and I are pretty much the same, like, let's make some money and get things done.
Yep.
So once we transitioned him on the team, we pretty much doubled our business.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he focuses, sounds like, on the buyer side mostly. And do you focus mostly on listings?
Mostly on listings.
Okay.
I'll do a couple buyers here and there, but mine is mostly the listing side. And then these past 2 years, him and I have become 50-50 partners as my mom's transitioning out of the business. And that's where I saw the next jump from 24 to 30 million.
Yeah, I think last year you said you guys finished just under 30
just
million.
Under
29.2, so close to that goal. Over 70 transactions for the year, which is really healthy and strong for sure. Is there a particular niche that you find that you guys really love to serve, or you feel like you've served well, whether it's geographically or just, a type of person or client that's worked for you, or not really?
We're kind of all over the board. I mean, we do condos for 50,000 up until, $1 million properties. So it's more the relationship building is what we focus on there. It's a
Makes
little bit
sense.
of everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite ways to kind of develop these relationships and find and attract loyal clients?
So one thing that we do, because we spend money nowhere else, it is just our database. We don't buy leads. I'm not doing anything. So we do a lot of client parties.
Yeah.
We send out random gifts through the year. We drop off gifts, asking people, to go to lunch or whatnot there. So we spend our money in our database.
Now, in this database, are these all past clients, or are these just prospective, many of them just leads that you get from whatever sources that you eventually hope to become a client?
I cannot do the strangers. We don't work well with that. I don't think that my follow-up system is well. So these are all people that we've worked with or through our vendor list. We know everybody, the plumbers, the electricians, everything like that. So if we've worked with you, you're in our database. If you've given us business, you're in there. And then if you've worked with us.
Cool. That makes a lot of sense. How often do you throw these parties?
Usually once or twice a year.
Okay.
This is where this year my goal is to hire an admin to help because it's just the three of us and then, transaction management. So we're doing everything. And I think that will help leverage for this next year is having an admin in those parties and help with that. Yeah,
for sure. Is that is that usually revolving around like holidays at all, or is it more of just kind of general times that you plan these out?
Most of the time it's a baseball game.
Really?
Water Threshers. We rent out the area there, do the hot dog corner, and do a little baseball game. That's been our consistent one.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, nice and easy.
And do you find that with these types of event programs, does that automatically lead to business that you have found in somehow throughout, trackable business, or is it something that you think eventually it's just about goodwill?
Yeah, nope. About one or two pieces of business comes from it because you're sending out the invites, the videos, the text messages through it. So there's a lot of touches in there, and it usually leads to one or two pieces. That's been a hard part of tracking where our business comes from is because I'm sending things out constantly. So I don't know if it's the one thing that I sent out that, makes it happen.
Yeah, there's an old adage. I mean, obviously, in my business, we focus a lot on marketing and different advertising mediums and so forth. And there's an old adage about a chiropractor who was blowing up in some small town USA city, and he got interviewed by a local reporter, and the reporter was asking him, "Hey, what advertising source are you in that's creating such a buzz?" Right? Yeah. And the chiropractor's response was, "Well, I'm not really in one source. I'm in 72 sources, and I'm getting one client from most of them." Right?
Yes. Yep.
So that's that whole concept of just there usually isn't a magic way. Some people do find their niche, and that's where they focus their energy on. But I think a lot of successful business owners just have to figure out that there are multiple different ways, and being as many places as you can without stretching yourself too thin.
Yep. And do what works for you. Like cold calling, I will never do that. Yeah. And so it doesn't work for me. I would rather go sit at an open house, or I would rather take you out for dinner for your birthday than
it's a fun way to run the business too.
Yes, it is much better.
No doubt. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like if you were to give some advice to an agent who, you've seen some great results obviously over the years, and you're not a new agent, so you've seen kind of the ebbs and flows of the market. It sounds like from what I'm hearing, you would advise like really digging into your list, right? Your client base, figuring out a way that you can consistently add value to that people. And I'm assuming you're always trying to grow that list.
Yes.
Right? In some capacity. Is that fair to say, or is there something I'm missing there?
I always tell new agents to start with revenue, right? You're not going to spend a ton of money. Go sit at open houses every day. That, when I started, that was one of my favorite things. And still now, if I'm bored during a Tuesday, I'll go sit at an open house instead. If the house is vacant, no problem. That's your mobile office.
Yeah.
I don't really believe in going to the office. I say have your mobile office every single day, because that's where we met when I started a ton of people as well, too, as the open houses.
Sure. And these are just open houses like within the brokerage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
They don't have to be yours. Just someone's open house that you can go and meet people. Yeah.
And then I say stay consistent because there's a lot of shiny objects in our world. It's who's selling you what and what new system and tool and this gadget and whatever. And we've bought in a couple things in the years and they're just a waste of money. You have to stay boring and stay consistent. I think that was the last part of 24 is I talked about that so often is stay boring.
Yeah.
Don't
That's a cool
get too
theme.
fancy. Yeah.
What works, stick with what works. Why change it?
Yeah.
So what excites you about 2025 and beyond? What are some of the things that you're focused on?
Investing in real estate. Okay. I think that, since we had the hurricanes, I think that there's some good opportunities in investment properties there. But between the properties that we have is the rent prices. People don't want to live in a condo or an apartment. And so buying the single family homes has been huge. And then we keep it a lower price range. We're under $300,000 on all of. I think we were under $250,000 on the ones that we own, and it's a good return.
Are they getting harder and harder to find at those price ranges, or are you seeing opportunities there?
So I just bought one, and I think we closed in December. And you have to not be attached to the outcome with that. I was sitting having a little glass of wine, and I made an offer, and I said it was listed at $315, and I said, I'll offer you $240, and they said, okay, we'll take it. And it was Halloween weekend. Nice. We were busy with the kids. And I said, my buyer's still thinking about it because I put it in Grant's name, and then we ended up getting it for $220, and that was just last month. Yep. So I think that there's deals. You just cannot be tied to the outcome. With it. It's all about if the numbers work, great, and if they don't, great. Yeah. That's okay.
So when you're looking at that property, I'm assuming this was on the MLS or something?
Yes.
Just sitting there. So what was it about that house in particular that, made you want to make an offer on it? Was it location? Was there a reason behind it?
It was in Safety Harbor. So I will never go see a property until the numbers make sense in my mind first. If it works for our formula, then I'll go see the property. If not, I get emotionally attached. So I never go see anything until we've fully negotiated it first.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So is your buy box, they say, that area, the Safety Harbor market?
Oh, if I could have everything in Safety Harbor, I would. I like Largo, Seminole. We're open as long as the numbers make sense with it. But that to me is amazing. I want to leave a legacy for my kids and eventually not have to work. I want to work.
Totally.
And so I think if I can get to 12 properties is our number.
Nice.
Yep.
And so when you build that number on how much you think you would be netting per property on average, and then do you guys self-manage or do you use a?
Yes, self-manage. Yep.
You do. Okay.
Yep.
Is that another element that you want to build out as a property management company?
100%.
Cool.
I think that is a great opportunity. I got my broker's license a couple years ago. There's a lot of back-end things to figure out because I'd have to start a separate brokerage with it. And so I think once we get to enough properties, then we'll hire somebody to start building that out for other people.
That's a full-time job in and of itself.
100%.
Especially if you're trying to still run this real estate business and then have this property management side for your own portfolio.
Yep.
Do you also work with investors and help them build their portfolio as well?
Yep. That's one of my favorite things. There's no emotions involved. Do the numbers work? And that's fantastic. So I love finding the flips. Our market is a little saturated with it. The amount of texts that we get a day saying, I'm an investor looking for this. So we're picky about who we work with.
Most of them are probably wholesalers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looking to put a property under contract and flip it somewhere.
Yep. So I've
seen that world for a while.
I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you. So we have a very small group of investors that we work with.
Well, you've said it a couple times now, the idea of making the numbers work. Give us an example of what that looks like. So are you looking at like the 1% rule from a rental standpoint or something else for you?
Yep. So the ones that I own personally, I'm not even close to it. I think we're making $250 to $350 a month on them, which is great. I'm very happy with that. But the one that
that's net.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one that we just bought it for $220, renting it out for $2,100. So that one I was like, that's a killer deal there. So
yeah, for sure.
Yep, those if we can find them.
So you're just looking at what rental comps are looking like in that area.
Yes.
What do you think you would realistically get for market rent?
As long as I can net a minimum of $250, I'm happy with it because we're in it for the long-term game.
Yep.
As
long as you're not losing money every month, yeah.
Yes, yes. As long as I'm not losing, even if I'm breaking even, one of them we're breaking even on, I'm totally fine with that.
Yep.
So
yeah. And have you ever had challenges in finding the right tenants at all? Or is
100%.
I'm sure that's never happened, right?
Oh my gosh.
That's always the nightmare that people think about, right?
Yes, and it does happen.
The middle of the night phone call about toilets clogged and that kind of thing.
Yep, I had one guy, it was more the pet thing. He had one dog, and he actually had 9 dogs. So my house smelled absolutely disgusting whenever he moved out. And what I learned is you have to be picky with who you're renting to. You cannot be desperate to say, I need it rented out right now. Be picky and find the right qualified person.
Yeah. It's interesting. And we've talked about really both sides of your business here, but what do you get more fulfillment out of, the retail side of the business, just working with buyers and sellers, or building up the investment world and building up your own portfolio, helping investors do the same?
Yep. So I would say on the listing side, it's really exciting. I like prepping the listings, doing the videos for that, getting somebody's house to look perfect and show amazing on the internet. I love that. That's my perfect day. If I could do that all day, every day, and then finding deals. I don't spend enough time looking for the deals, so it's not. If it's there, it's there. If it's not,
sure.
Oh, well.
Do you just look on the MLS? Do you have some filters or something set up to kind of alert you when something?
Some that we've gone on that we look at every time I meet with somebody who's interested in selling is, can I buy this and would this work for me? So we always make them, if you'd like to sell it right now, here's what we can offer you as well as a benefit.
It's always good to give options, right?
Yes.
Here's a cash option. Here's what you can get on the market. If you want to wait a little bit longer, this is what you might be able to get.
We've done that as well. That's how I got my Largo property. We went on the appointment, and I said, I think I can sell it for this, or I'll offer you this. And they said, well, take your offer. I said, wonderful.
Yeah,
let's go.
That works. Yeah, that totally works. I love it. And so I think a lot of people who get into real estate do it for that reason. You know, they have a goal of wanting to build a portfolio of their own.
Yes.
And that might even be the sole motivation from the get-go. And then maybe they eventually add the retail side as they start helping other people build their business.
It really excites me too. In every media thing that I do and every letter that I do to our past clients is growing wealth through real estate. The world's changed now. People are at their jobs short amount of times while they're changing. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
We've helped a lot of people that are in their retirement and they don't have any money. And I'm thinking, if you just bought one house and you sold it, you'd have 3 that's going to be paid off. You know, you would have that money. And so I am so passionate about everybody at least having one house.
Yeah.
Is it a pain? Sometimes 100%. But will you thank yourself later? Yes.
Totally.
Yep.
No, I mean, there's a reason why they always say more millionaires were made because of real estate than any other, any other investment or industry out there, for sure. And even if it's just your own personal residence that you live in, that's usually going to be your biggest nest egg, your biggest net worth factor is that home,
But that's why I want people to have more than one, because if you needed that money now, are you going to take a HELOC?
Totally.
Are you going to be able to afford those payments? No. Sell your rental property and there you go, if you ever have to get out of it. So.
Right. No, that makes all the sense in the world for sure. So on the personal side, just for people to get to know that for a few minutes. So I know you mentioned off camera that you are married.
I am.
So unfortunately, the dude's just, she is taken already. It is what it is. How long have you been married?
I've been married since 2018.
Okay. And you have 2 kids?
2 kids. Cool. Tanner and Tripp. They are 10 and 8.
And what do you guys love to do for fun when you're not working the real estate world?
We live at the ball fields. My kids are heavily involved in baseball. So we live in the baseball fields.
Nice.
I love it.
Safety Harbor? Or?
Safety Harbor, yep. And they just got on a travel light baseball team, so we're not gone every weekend. That's been the most fun to me because that's where I've made my best friends as an adult. It's not the easiest to make friends as an adult. What do you do?
Right.
And so the kids have helped facilitate that, and we have a real good group of friends.
Yeah, no, I can completely relate. On New Year's Eve, we were actually at my son's baseball coach's house.
Yep.
And I'm an assistant coach on his team. And so the dads that were coaches all got together for a New Year's Eve party at his place, playing cornhole in the front yard.
That's exactly what we did too. My husband's the coach of the teams. And so that's our best friends there, and the kids have fun, and we're with an awesome group of people. So.
Yeah, no doubt. I can relate totally. We live in Land O'Lakes, so we play over there.
Yep.
But my 2 boys are loving it, and one of them wants to be a pitcher, the other one wants to catch. So it works out really well. They can just practice in the front yard, backyard, and work on their skill sets. So it works that way.
It's a good time.
It is a good time. So you mentioned that your boys are getting into the travel side, though, maybe, huh?
Yep, we're thinking about it.
We've been offered the same opportunity, and I'm kind of leery about it a little bit.
I was like, it's a money grab, and and it's a lot of time spent away. I like the Little League, but they're going to eventually grow out of it very soon.
Yeah, I know it's coming eventually too.
Yep.
I'd like to push it off as long as I can.
That's our plan. That's why we're in the travel light. Well, we'll do a tournament here or there. I think last season we did 2. Fantastic. That was plenty.
Gotcha.
6 baseball games in a weekend was plenty.
Yeah, no doubt. It is a lot. I mean, even just with the 2 playing at Land O'Lakes Little League, there's a lot of games, a lot of practices.
You're there every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
You really are. My girls are in a dance too, so that keeps them pretty busy as well with that schedule.
Yeah.
Cool. So a couple rapid fire questions for you.
Yes.
Do you have a favorite book or author, seminar ever that you've attended that you feel like has made an impact on you personally or professionally?
Oh, that's a great question. I am into Mel Robbins right now.
Okay.
I listen to her podcast. I am very into the Let Them. I would take things personally before, like if I invited you somewhere and you didn't want to go. So hers has been wonderful. And I think it's both personally and professionally is let them. If I ask you to do something and you choose not to, let them.
Yeah. That's the name of her podcast?
That is one of her mottos.
Okay.
I would have to look up what her podcast is called, but it's Mel Robbins, and I think she is
Gotcha.
She's badass.
Yeah, I haven't heard of her before. So is it mostly business or self-development? Or
Self-development.
Okay.
Yep. If you see her picture, she's a cute blonde with thick black glasses. You'd be like, I know.
Probably. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you're a podcast gal?
I like it. Yep.
Yeah.
It's nice and easy while you're working to flip through.
Totally.
And listen, watch. Yep.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite TV show or movie?
Oh, right now I have gotten into Grey's Anatomy.
Okay.
I started from season...
You know, it's been around for a while.
I know, and I've never watched it. So I started from the very beginning, and I think I'm on like season 9 right now. So that's just what I watch in the background.
How many seasons do they even have?
They just started more.
Did they really?
They just started
It's still a new show? I thought it was done by now.
Nope. They just started new episodes, so I have a long time to go.
So you're a Grey's Anatomy fan, huh? How about that? Yeah, that works. We all got our thing. Yeah. How about favorite food? Anything come to mind?
Oh, so I love to cook. If you ask me what is my
the Italian side or the Polish side?
That's the Polish side.
Okay.
Yep. So if I could be in the kitchen every day, I think our job is sometimes stressful in what we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. Cooking is mindless for me, and everybody's always happy with you. Nobody's mad when you put them out something.
Totally.
And so we say our death row meal
fulfills that love language of acts of service, right?
Yes.
Everyone wants a good meal.
100%. And I will cook every day. But my death row meal is scallops with truffle mushroom risotto.
Wow.
That's my favorite.
That's specific.
That is.
Yeah.
That's why I said if I had one
delicious.
meal, it's so good.
I do like scallops too. Those are great.
Yep.
Absolutely. So now I know if you're ever
hungry,
hungry, we can have watch the kids play baseball, and we'll just do a little scallop meal at the Gajdosz house.
There you go. Yep.
So we'll end here with what I call the legacy question. Ashley, this is one that gets people to think usually a little bit about why we do what we do. And so I think one day, hopefully many, many years from now, you'll sit at that rocking chair and think back about what you'd want to be most remembered for, right? Like what you'd want that legacy to be.
Yep.
And what are some thoughts that come to mind about what you think would be most important to you?
I want my kids to know, it's all about the kids, in my opinion, that I was present and I was there for them. I think that people die too young and we're busy in life. And so I want them to know I worked my butt off so we could have this. I want them to have the freedom to choose. Yep. And that's what I'm working on myself. I'm, be 38 this year, so I have a lot of time, I hope, but having the freedom to choose. And so I think working hard now will give them the freedom to choose, because school and life is very different than whenever we grew up. It was a straight path. Now it's just a jungle for them. And so I want them, you want to go to college? Great. You want to work in this business? Great. You choose whatever you want to do. So that would be important for me, is that if they said, my mom gave me the opportunity to choose what I wanted to do as an adult.
That's cool.
Yep.
You think they have an itch for real estate at all? They're still probably too young to find out, right?
Every time I leave the house, they go, get that listing, Mom. So it's really cute. They know, they kind of get what I do, but I don't think fully.
Well, it's good to know that they're supporting everything. They might not know what a listing is, but they know that you need to get one.
Yeah. They're like, you do that before you come back.
Right.
So,
that's awesome. That's cool. Well, it was great. I'm glad that we never really had a chance to meet prior to here, so I'm glad that we get some time to talk. Yeah, we had some storms that we had to plow through there for like everybody else last couple of months. But we'll end the episode the way we always do, which is really with a challenge to the audience. But before I do that, if anybody wanted to reach out to you just to talk about your business model, your follow-up systems, even your investment tips that you've shared, a couple of them, what's the best way for somebody to connect with you if they wanted to follow up?
I would say email or text. My phone is 813-300-7002. And then emails lastname@kw.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank
It was good to have you here for sure.
I appreciate you.
We're going to end the episode with a challenge to the audience. So if you're watching any of the live stream through YouTube or through Facebook or any of our platforms, or you're listening in on any of the 15 plus podcast platforms that we have, first thing you should do is click the subscribe button, by the way, below. So that way you're notified every time we drop a new episode, which we drop weekly here with the Tampa Bay Real Producers podcast. But what is one thing that you can take from our conversation today with Ashley that's going to help propel you forward personally or professionally? That's why we do what we do. And if you've taken some time to listen to this or watch this and then not put anything to work, then you're going to waste a lot of the energy and time that you invested in watching this. So maybe it's, hey, you want to pick up an investment property and you might need to learn a little bit more, do some research on that, or talk to someone like Ashley who can help you maybe narrow down your focus on an investment side. Or maybe you want to learn more about somebody like Ashley's follow-up system and how she's worked this list. And that's really been the key, it sounds like, to her success consistently over the years. What does that look like for you? Is there something that you can take from that that's going to allow you to build your business better? Or maybe you need to learn how to make some scallops, like Ashley said. I mean, that might be another thing too. But what is it for you? What's one thing that can make a difference? And if you focus on that, then the time you invest in here is going to be worth it. So we'll see you, of course, on the next episode of the Tampa Bay Real Producers podcast, and we'll see you there. Bye.